If you're a dog owner in Woodbury, you already know what a great place it is for our pups. So we put together this guide to help you find a great local trainer, which can make your life here with your dog even better. Here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about why training is kind of unique to our life here in Woodbury. Then we'll get into the different training options out there. After that, we'll show you exactly how to check out a potential trainer. And finally, we'll look at the local costs and city rules you'll want to know. All right, let's jump right into our first section, training for your Woodbury life. It really boils down to something simple. A well-trained dog makes for a happy neighbor and a happy community. I mean, just think about it. Whether you're taking a walk around Colby Lake Park or running some errands over at Woodbury Lakes, having a dog who's calm and listens just makes everything so much easier and way more fun for you, your dog, and honestly, for everyone else around you. So, you know you need training, but where do you even start? Well, that brings us to section 2. We're going to decode all those different training options so you can figure out what's the best fit. The foundation for pretty much all modern humane training is positive reinforcement. It's not about yelling or punishing bad behavior. It's about rewarding your dog when they make a good choice. This way, you're building a relationship based on trust, and you get a dog that actually wants to work with you. Now, how does that training actually happen? Well, you've basically got two main paths. On one hand, you have group classes. These are awesome for socialization, and they teach your dog to listen even when there are other dogs and people around. Plus, they usually cost a bit less. On the other hand, you've got private sessions. This is where you get that one-on-one, personalized attention, which is perfect for tackling specific problems that only happen at home, like countersurfing or jumping on guests. And besides those, you might see a few other types of programs. Board and Train is like a boot camp for your dog. It's super immersive and can get fast results. Day training is a great option if you're busy, your dog gets trained while you're at work. Puppy training is, it's for puppies, and it's all about getting those crucial early skills down. And then there's behavior modification, which is for more serious issues like fear or reactivity. Okay, let's move on to section 3. You know the options, but how do you actually find someone who's qualified and who you can trust? This is all about knowing what to look for and what to ask. Here's something you should know. In Minnesota, dog training isn't regulated, so anybody can say they're a trainer. That's why professional certifications are so important. These letters, like CPDTKA or KPA-CTP, show that a trainer has actually passed exams and is committed to a code of ethics. It's a really good sign of their expertise. Finding those credentials is a fantastic start, but the next step is to have a real conversation with them. So what are the things you absolutely have to ask any trainer you're thinking about hiring? Here are 6 must-ask questions. You want to confirm their philosophy, make sure it's positive. Ask what they do to keep their skills sharp. A good trainer will create a custom plan for you, not a one-size-fits-all thing. And you'll also want to get clear on how they track progress, what the final costs will be, and, this is a big one for behavior issues, if they're willing to work with your vet. Okay, for our last section, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the practical stuff right here in Woodbury, how much this all costs, and what the local rules are. So here's a general idea of what you can expect to pay in our area. A 6-week puppy class will probably run you somewhere between $175 and $300. A single private lesson is usually about $100 to $180, and then for the more intensive stuff like a board and train program, you're looking at a much bigger investment. This should give you a good starting point for your budget. So training is definitely an investment. But being a responsible dog owner in Woodbury goes beyond just the budget. It's also about knowing and following our local rules to make sure everyone can enjoy our community. If you only remember one number today, make it this one: 6 feet. That's the maximum leash length you can have in any Woodbury City Park or on any public trail. So those long, retractable leashes, technically they don't comply if you let them go out past 6 feet. And here are the other big rules to keep in mind. Your dog has to be on a leash anytime they're not on your own property. They have to be vaccinated for rabies after 6 months old, and you need to have that tag on their collar. And yeah, you've got to manage the barking, because if it's constant, it can actually be considered a nuisance violation. All right, so you've done your homework, you know the rules. Where can you actually go to put all this fantastic new training into practice? Woodbury has some really great spots for this. The Woodbury Dog Park is perfect for working on that off-leash recall. The trails over at Carver Lake Park are great for practicing loose leash walking when there are joggers and bikes whizzing by. Powers Lake Park is a beautiful spot to teach your dog to be calm around all the activity. And for a longer track to really build focus, the Mississippi River Regional Trail is just excellent. When we wrap this all up, it's important to remember that all of this, the research, the questions, the money, it's all about one thing. Finding the right trainer is really just the first step toward building a truly wonderful life with your dog right here in our community. Just imagine it. Soon you'll be enjoying those peaceful walks on the Carver Lake trails. You'll be able to relax when friends come over, and you'll just be navigating the community with a confident, happy dog. All the best on your training journey.